Uh-oh. Am I lagging or are you lagging, Jude? Can you hear me? Oh boy.
I had my mic muted there for a
There
second,
we go.
but
Now
we're
I
here. Yeah, I don't know if you. I think you might have been talking. I waited a little bit longer because I wanted to go shut off my fan to have less background noise. But we
gotcha.
are here. Ethan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you. A wonderful introduction. Here we go. I am Ethan Quintero. Welcome, everybody, to SSPN, talking all things Spurs. As always, I'm with Jude McLaren, partner in crime, and we're here to recap yet another disappointing loss for the San Antonio Spurs. 108-109 to the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. And Jalen Brunson, apparently, who is a max level player. Jude, why don't you go ahead and just give me your overall vibes about tonight's game?
Okay. So before I get into this, I'm gonna make a reference to Jack Harlow. He tweeted recently that said that the San Antonio Riverwalk has some of the best vibrations or vibes, whatever you want to call it, in the entire country. I completely agree with that statement, and I believe that whenever we talk about the San Antonio Spurs, good vibrations and good vibes always seem to be here. Unfortunately, after this game, I'm going to bring a lot of negative vibes to this conversation.
Yes,
And it
sir.
has nothing to do with anybody's performance, really. There's just a couple things that really stood out to me and really frustrated me in today's game because I think that the majority of the team played well enough to definitely get, like, they deserved to win tonight. There were a couple things. Really, the game should have been tied because of the missed travel call on Luka in the third quarter that led to a three from Tim Hardaway Jr. And yes, I know that Keldon also had a travel kind of late. That was a makeup call a little bit, but that was a two. So if you take away the three, it's the same. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not doing my math right there, but point is, there were a lot of missed calls tonight, and I can get into the refs, which I'll get into that later. And it's not necessarily like this is not the refs weren't the difference in tonight's game. That was just another little annoyance. But when it comes to this one, Ethan, everything that I keep thinking about is Boban Marjanovic easily shooting jump hooks over Thaddeus Young. And let's see, how many points did Boban have tonight? I remember two off the top of my head specifically, but
19,
now,
I think.
now
17.
that, oh, my bad. Okay, so yeah, he made 8 shots tonight, okay? If we had somebody in there who was tall enough to contest him, he probably misses 2 of those. Okay, I mean, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I think he can miss at least one of those if we have somebody in there that can just put a hand up. Maybe doesn't even take the shot. It's and when you lose a 1-point game like that, it's like, why are we playing Thaddeus Young, who is 6'7"? I get that. Like, I saw Jeff McDonald, who's a super respected writer for the San Antonio News Express, or Express News, excuse me, and I really like his work. But at the same time, because his argument was, somebody tweeted about, like, why aren't we getting Jock Landale? Like, what beef does Pop have with Jock Landale? And Jeff responded, he was like, well, he's, a rookie in his 8th game. And no, I shouldn't talk like that. But I don't want to mock him because I really do respect him. I've grown up reading his stuff. But at the same time, well, I'm sorry about that. I got the ESPN thing again, and I
No, you're
can't
good. You're
talk if
good.
that's going to my ears. But going back to the topic at hand, Jeff McDonald quoted that tweet and said, he's a rookie in his 8th game. I'd be shocked if he was even involved in the lineup. And this goes back to what we were talking about in the comments this past Monday, if you were with us to recap that game in our post game. And the point that everybody was making is that Jock Landale is not a normal rookie. Yes, the NBL is not the NBA, but he is a dude who has played high-level Olympic basketball against the Olympic team that Greg Popovich coached, by the way. So he saw it firsthand, which is probably why he wanted to sign him, which I love the signing, but let's play him, man. This is like he has
Mhm.
Olympic experience. There's no excuse. He's not a rookie. I don't care. Like, at this point, I don't care even if he is a rookie. He would have contested one of Boban's shots, and that was the difference tonight. I mean, there were a lot of things that were the difference tonight, but that was one of the things that were the difference tonight. And I know I'm getting a little bit heated here, but it's just like, man, these guys shouldn't be like, DeJounte shouldn't be, hanging his head. Devin shouldn't be hanging his head. Like, I hate watching these guys go back to the locker room where they feel sad and disappointed. And because they're good guys and they have a good mental set and they're not going to make excuses because, once again, they're just a good Like they're a good group of dudes. They're not going to make excuses and they're going to put it on themselves, but they shouldn't be having to put them on themselves when
Hmm.
we're making these stupid coaching decisions. And like I still, I will never not say that Pop is the greatest coach of all time. Greg Popovich and the entire coaching staff know more about basketball than I do. That is a absolute fact. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm smarter than them and that I should be the coach. But tonight, when you have somebody on the bench who's 6'11" and you're putting in Thaddeus Young, who is 6'7", to guard Boban Marjanovic, another player that you've had on your roster and coached, it is the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, obviously. But at the same time, I am just like, oh my gosh, like here's them easy. Like we had McDermott playing center for a little bit. Like
Yeah.
what? Like and even here's another thing. If we want to talk about questionable coaching decisions, now granted, Lonnie hit that three and shout out to him, man. Shout out to him for hitting that three because that kept us in the game. But like, why are we subbing Doug McDermott out for Lonnie Walker to shoot a three?
Yeah, I think it was intended for him to push the ball down the floor, but he didn't get the inbound. So it
Okay.
just ultimately, because he's so fast, I feel like I thought that was why we were bringing him in, but it didn't work out that way. So it
Okay.
ended up being really stupid because he just shot a three, which he made, thank God, but I would much rather have had Dougie McDermott shooting that three. But I
Even in
understand what you're
general,
saying.
like, is there somebody else we can sub out? At that point in the game, like, we needed a three.
Yeah,
So why are we subbing Doug McDermott, our best three-point shooter,
true,
out of the game?
true.
Yeah. And so, like, and here's the thing. Like, look, I understand that he's a rookie and he probably would make some mistakes. Absolutely. Like
Yeah,
Eubanks is out there still making mistakes, right?
yeah,
Although I think that he played a pretty good game tonight overall, all things considered, and made up for the paint defense with 4 blocks, which we'll get into a little bit later. That was desperately needed in Jakob Pertl's absence. But like when Boban's out there, just throw Jock out there. Like he's
yeah.
played Olympic basketball, dude. He's played against Bam Adebayo like consistently, and in other Olympics before. Like, come on, man. Like, please. And I know that's the one thing that I'm harping on, but in a 1-point game like this, those little things are the difference.
Yeah, and I'm gonna echo exactly what you said, but I'll add another thing. I
Yes,
don't have a
please talk
problem.
about something else.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much the same topic. I don't have a problem with Thaddeus Young playing 22 minutes like he did tonight, but not at the 5. I need him at the 4. And another thing I have a problem with, even if you don't want to play Jacques, even if you just have absolutely no intention on putting him in the game, okay, fine, I get it. That's what the Spurs do. It pisses us off, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
But you still only play Drew Eubanks 19 minutes. And I know people are pissed off at Drew because he's had an off season so far, but he's still bigger than Thaddeus Young, and he's going to give my man Boban a little more, fits when it comes to scoring on offense, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. After those 2 Boban shots that where Boban was like, oh, look, Thaddeus Young is right here. And by the way, not bad defense by Thaddeus Young.
Exactly.
He's just 6'7", right?
Yes.
And he had some 2 bad turnover passes tonight where they caught on to what he was doing, but he still also had some good things offensively. Like Thad benefited us offensively tonight. I saw a comment right here, like he didn't play terrible. It's just where he's playing
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense. But going back to that, those 2 easy little shots that Boban had over him, it's like, then Pop's like, oh, gotta sub in Eubanks. Like, what did you expect, dude? Like, you
Hmm.
literally, like, I was like, is he just like, is his oldness getting to him? Like, I don't mean that to be
Yeah.
disrespectful. Like, I'm just genuinely asking. Like,
And I'm curious, why is it so outrageous? In the comments, let us know. Is it weird that both Jude and I think it's not like a bad idea to put Thaddeus Young at the 4 and then Drew Eubanks or Jakob Pertl or even Jacques Landale at the 5? Like, why do we have to play Thaddeus Young at the 5? I don't understand why that's such a necessity. That if he's in the game, then Drew's coming out and he's going to be playing the 5 with like Devin at the 4. Like, I don't understand why that's the case consistently when we continue to see that defensively it's just a nightmare. Offensively, it's fine because we're so much faster and he's such a pretty good passer as far as like working from that high post area. But defensively, it's not even his fault. Like you said, like he played pretty good defense on Boban Marjanovic, and I saw out an instant replay. He had his hand up when Boban hit one of those crazy hooks, and he literally just went like put his hands in the air, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do?" Like he's 7'4". Like there's nothing I can do to stop this.
It'd be different if, like, we didn't build Boban in the NBA, but we literally did. Like, Pop knows Boban better than any other coach in the league, and he's making this decision. It's gotta be one of the most frustrating things of all time. And this is another thing that you mentioned. I mean, the rotations on defense, like defensive rotations, have been a problem, but also just like our rotations in regards to our lineups have just been question marks, like our man Mace says. Thank you guys all for being in here, by the way. Let's give a shout out to Nick, Lara Latin, Mace, our man OTO, Anata Prajna. All of y'all in here. I'm the most handsome Tanner Robinson. We appreciate y'all. And
Robertson,
as
get
well.
it right, Jude.
Robertson, yes.
Respect Tanner.
But going back, swinging it back to you, Ethan.
Yeah, rotations have been all kinds of off, and we can get in a little bit more details as we move along in the show. But just a quick note on rotations: why is Trey Jones playing 2 minutes, and why is Keita Bates playing 5 minutes? Like, what's the purpose of that? Like, I don't understand that. And then you're not going to play Jacques when we needed size. Like,
Trey played good tonight too. Like when he was on the floor, he didn't do anything wrong. Why did he only get?
He came in for 2 minutes, then went right back out of the game.
Didn't even play. He got a point, an assist, and a steal.
Yeah, he played very well. He always plays very well when he comes in, and just immediately sits back down and doesn't come back into the game for some unknown reason.
Yeah, and Keita Bates. I would have rather had Keita Bates guarding Boban.
Yes. Or at the end of the game, I was talking to my boy Tanner Robinson.
He would have had a better chance of
Keita Bates Diop instead of when they were cooking my poor man Doug McDermott at the end of the game. Well, I don't know why we didn't just put Keita Bates Diop in there instead, because I know you wanted him to shoot threes, but you weren't even giving him the ball when it was our chance to score anyway. So he was basically out there just to get cooked by Luka Doncic or Jalen Brunson. So put somebody else in there that's a better defender.
Yeah, I missed who you were talking about there. I was just
Doug McDermott when he was in at the end of the game, getting completely obliterated by Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic.
Like, yes, and why was I don't know if this was I don't want to. Derek played a pretty solid game overall. Like this was a much improved game for Derek tonight. But at the end of the game, why is he not switching on to Jalen Brunson? And why are we having 2 straight possessions where Jalen Brunson is being guarded by Doug McDermott?
Yep.
And they're switching. And then Derek's over there just standing next to Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, why is Derek White our second best defender, who was harassing Luka with DeJounte all night, guarding Dorian Finney-Smith when Jalen Brunson's career high is against the Spurs for 31? He's been cooking us for the past 3 years. Like.
And they finally fixed it at one point. They finally switched it back. It was too late. And he still cooked Derek. He literally put him in the spin cycle, hit a turnaround jumper, and it was like, I don't know what you're going to do about that. He's already hot. Yeah.
There were a lot of frustration, tonight. So let's get into the main segment part now that we had our little 15-minute vent session there.
Yes.
Starting off, let's go with offensive MVP. I have a feeling we're going to have the same guy tonight. I don't know for a fact, but Ethan, who you got?
I went with the safe choice. There were 2 choices in my opinion, so if you don't say the other one, then we can talk about him in a second. But I'm going to say DeJounte Murray.
Okay.
I know he was -8 from the field, but 23 points, 8 assists, 9 boards, and you can just you continue to see that when he's on the court, our offense operates way more efficiently and cohesively.
8 assists.
8 assists, and he's such a great isolation scorer. I know a lot of people think that, late in games, we don't have a closer. I think DeJounte's our closer. And I think if you watch these games closely, you can see...
That 3 he hit was huge.
He took Luka all the way to the cup and got a really tough layup to I think it was cut it to 1 point at a certain point, or maybe it was to tie the game up. I can't remember. But he has that body language, that desire to take over a game, and we need that at this point, and I don't think anybody else necessarily wants it. So it's great to see we have somebody that we could kind of count on to kind of go get us a bucket in the absence of DeMar DeRozan, so I'm going to give it to DeJounte Murray. And then defensively, as always, he's out there doing his absolute best, even though nobody can stop Luka Doncic.
Yeah, so I'm actually surprised. Mine is Devin Vassell.
Yeah,
but I don't mind. I see now that I actually thought Devin was our leading scorer still. And I'm not mad at
Close.
DeJounte at all. DeJounte was deserving too. You could honestly, if you wanted to argue, I mean, I think Derek had an argument tonight as well. But I'm going with Devin Vassell, just how efficient he was, how hot he was. And the reason that he missed shots later in the game is because, if you guys were listening to the broadcast, Sean was like, why are we not going to Devin Vassell? He's so hot right now. We're not going to him. And notice, what did the Mavericks do? What did Luka Doncic do in the clutch? He didn't take the shots because guess what? Jalen Brunson was on fire, so they let them do that. Like we saw, like other teams are doing it and beating us with it. Why didn't we give? Like Devin he could have gone for 30 tonight. Like he really could have. If we would have kept giving him the ball, he would have gotten at least, I would say, like 7 more points. Like
I gotta go back and look, Jude. But do you remember? It felt like to me, we were taking him out as soon as he was like hitting. He would hit like 4 shots in a row, and then we would just be like, "All right, Devin, come on out. Cool.
And
I
this
know
is
you're
the
hot,
same
but go
thing
ahead and come on out."
that Pop did with Manu. Like growing up, there are a lot of times where Manu would get hot and Pop would take him out, and it didn't matter because you had 2 other Hall of Famers. We don't have 2 other Hall of Famers anymore, as far as we know right now. I would hope and love to think that DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson and Joshua Primo will all be Hall of Famers or whoever. You know what I mean? But we don't know that. We don't know that for sure. Oh, Weezy's Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt, no doubt. First ballot, Joe Wieskamp. But going back to what we were talking about, like chilling with Kat says right here, man.
Yeah.
Bro, you did nothing wrong.
He made one mistake.
Okay, tell me.
When he dropped the ball going baseline, he got that cut from DJ. He had an opportunity to, I think it was tie it or take the lead.
Maybe if we would have kept him in rhythm and kept giving him the ball, he wouldn't have gotten out of rhythm, and that wouldn't have happened. That was what I thought when I saw that. Still a mistake, and because he's a guy who's in the right mental state, doesn't make excuses, and wants to keep getting better, he's going to say that's on him. When really, I think it's a different story if he's in rhythm. I don't think that, you saw the forced 3 there at the end, and it almost went in. Like, the rotation on the ball when he shoots it just looked so good tonight. And like I said, I like DeJounte Murray as a pick as well, but the way that Devin Vassell played tonight, just so efficient, the way he was making everything. He was in such a rhythm, we just didn't give him the ball. So, other than that dropped pass, that was that was his one mistake, but... That's why he got my MVP.
Really good game.
Yeah. So he was our spark plug, with Lonnie kind of not being that tonight, so that was huge.
I don't know what's wrong with Lonnie the past couple games. He hasn't played bad, but he just hasn't shot that much.
He only went 2 for 5. Like, it wasn't like he had a horrible game. He did have 6 assists quietly.
Yeah.
Like, so he passed the ball, was plus 12 on the plus minus. That's actually the highest on the team. So maybe you could say he's a little bit of an unsung hero there, at least on the stat sheet. He's not who I have as my pick, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Any final thoughts just on Devin and DeJounte?
On Devin, I have one, and I promised my man Tanner Robertson that I would talk about this tonight. The more we see him play with meaningful minutes, Jude, the more I'm leaning toward actually elevating him to possibly the starting lineup. I know Derek played really well tonight, and I don't want to crap on Derek because he really didn't do anything wrong other than a couple times, I think, dribble a little too much and make a bad pass. But, man, Devin, he's playing really well, and he's not playing like G League well. He's playing well enough to deserve starting level minutes. I'm not saying give him the job, but it's a great sign to see that one of our young guys is taking this next step to move up into that starting lineup and prove himself. Because say it with your chest, Ethan. because he fits as our starting shooting guard, like based on the formula that we've gone to in the past. A guy that can shoot and play defense, and he does both of those very well. And if Derek continues to struggle with shooting, I don't have a problem with switching them. Put Derek off the bench as the primary facilitator, because that's really where I think he's best. He's the facilitator.
Good playmaking tonight too.
Yes, I think off ball it's just a little too weird. I don't know why, but the past 7 games, it's been kind of iffy for some reason. So I'm not saying do it right now. Give him a couple more sample size for Derek to prove himself, but Devin's looking very good.
Yeah, so I think Pop and them's thinking is like, well, we need some more height on the bench.
But you got 6'11" dude just chilling, just waiting to come in.
Yeah. It's not like he's 25 and has played in the
Oof.
Olympics multiple times or won a professional basketball league's MVP pretty recently or anything, but he has. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The only reason I'm not saying put Devin over McDermott right now is because McDermott's playing our 4, and I don't want Devin playing our 4. I just don't. I'd rather him at the 2 or the 3, but I don't think Keldon. I don't want to move Keldon to the bench, nor do I want to move him to the 4 spot. So I'm just addressing the Diamante and George.
Yeah. No, and I get the appeal there because Devin actually has played pretty well at the 4, kind of off the bench in a couple of different circumstances. And we've talked about his rebounding this year and how he's just got a vertical. And, unfortunately, I kind of agree with our man Diamante right here, Ethan. It's going to be real tough to see Derek getting benched with that contract.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. But I'm for it. I really am. Like, you just tell him, hey, be like Manu. Like, I see the benefits of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And maybe it wouldn't work, but if we're not going to be winning games down the stretch, let's try it, in my opinion.
Exactly. This is what we need. This is what we need, bro. We need this so bad. Like, fine. If you're not going to play Jock, whatever. If your whole rule is the rookie thing, like, gosh, we need Zach not injured. Like, because he would have helped tonight, too. He would have got a hand up, and at least probably Boban would have missed one shot. It just, ugh.
What's OTO's question referring to? I can't remember. Can y'all answer me this? Was Luka's foul a bait or a legit foul? Which one?
I don't know which play you're referring to there, my man OTO. So I don't know how to answer that question. But
sorry, buddy.
If you want to move on to defensive MVP, let's go ahead and do that. So who do you got? Because despite this frustrating result, there was a lot of good defensive play tonight, in my opinion, specifically considering the fact that we held Luka Doncic. I know he still had 23, 12, and 7, but in all reality, he shot 3 for 12 from the three-point line and 10 for 25 from the field goal, just overall. So, and had 4 turnovers as well. So really, against one of the best players in the league, that was a really good job defensively tonight against him. Who was your defensive MVP, Ethan?
I got to go with Devin Vassell. I know he was your offensive MVP. He had a couple steals. Actually, he had 0 steals. He had a couple blocks, excuse me. One of them was really impressive at the end of the game. I know everybody probably remembers that vividly when he went up. I think it was against, was it Finney Smith that he went up and swatted away? Back when we didn't have a single center. You go up and when you look it up, you'll see it. It's pretty impressive.
I'll watch the highlights at some point.
But I'm going to go with him because every time I saw him switch onto Luka really struggled to find his shot, and he defended his turnaround jumper better than anybody else I saw tonight. Luka was cooking guys in the post, but as soon as Devin was guarding him, he was having trouble getting that shot to fall, and he was having to defer a lot to Jalen Brunson. Unfortunately, Jalen Brunson ended up cooking whoever was guarding him. But when Devin was guarding Luka, I liked what I saw from him. He was really able to limit his offensive prowess, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah, I think that the whole kind of team did a really good job on Luka Doncic tonight. And I have like a slash. I have 2 guys, and it's our 2 highest paid players on the team. Finally, I can, kind of combine these 2 together and be like, I'm happy we're paying them this. Derek and DeJounte, obviously we saw the steals that DeJounte got on Luka where he was pickpocketing him. And when I see Luka's body language and I see him like not even get frustrated after he got pickpocketed, but just kind of be like, wow, this guy's good. Like, I couldn't have done anything there. I thought I had him, like I just thought I was better than, like I didn't think he was like that, basically was the reaction on his face. And obviously we're just, I'm psychoanalyzing Luka Doncic through a television screen right now. So maybe I'm completely off here, but from what I saw, it seemed like when we're at the point to where, top players in the league are just like, man, shoot, DeJounte got me there. That is a good thing to see. Like, that is something that we've been wanting to see for a really long time. And Derek did a really good job kind of harassing him, getting physical with him. Even there was a shot that I think Luka made where Derek got physical with him and then just got a hand up and did like best defense possible. But it was different than the closeouts from last game that I kind of complained about, where I was like, oh, we're just putting a hand up. It was like an actual get in. And yeah, it went in, but I was like, okay, but he got physical with him on that play. He forced him to make a fadeaway, and he had the best contest possible.
Yeah.
So
those closeouts are considerably better this game. Yes. I don't know if you noticed that. Considerably.
Yes, they were, for sure. And so just the combination of Derek and DeJounte kind of staggering on Luka, depending on who was in the game. I know there were times that Luka was in and both of them were in the game, but they could, switch back and forth on them. The combined effort of our two guards there guarding Luka, despite the stat sheet. If you look at the field goal numbers, you'll see how well of a job both of those guys did making him uncomfortable, which is probably a big reason why the Spurs had a chance in this game.
I like that. I like that a lot. I can't disagree. They both played very well. I think this is the best game we've seen from Derek since that one game where he kind of went off a little bit. I can't remember which one it was, but he had one really good game this season. Alrighty, let's move on to our unsung hero, my man. Go ahead. Who do you got?
So I've already been seeing there's a lot of complaints in the comments. Y'all may not like this one, but here's my perspective from what I saw. I got Doug McDermott. I think that he opened up the offense. I don't think he made a single three tonight. I don't even think he shot a three tonight, which I don't like. He only took 2 shots the entire game. Don't like that. I know we were talking about how they were running plays for him before, and
they weren't tonight.
Yeah, they weren't tonight, and we were kind of complaining, hey, they should do that with Bryn. When Doug McDermott comes back, that'll probably happen. Didn't happen tonight. But at the same time, I felt like that our offense looked a lot prettier. It looked a lot more in rhythm. There's still problems that we got to fix. There were still a couple times where dudes were just picking up their handoffs and looking around like, oh, who do I pass it to? Kind of deer in the headlights thing. But there was a lot less to just, all right, I'll get the ball, try to beat a guy off the dribble, and then, I don't see anything, let me pass it off to somebody else on the perimeter. They'll do the same thing for another 10 seconds. There was a lot less of that. And I think a lot of that had to do with just the spacing and the effect that Doug McDermott has on the floor that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Just him being on the floor, that was something different than all those other games. And then we noticed a difference in our offensive rhythm and our offensive efficiency, just the way that we ran our offense. You could see a significant improvement, at least from my perspective, Ethan. And I think that even though Doug didn't do too much tonight on the stat sheet, I think that just the way that he commands attention on the floor opened things up for us tonight. What do you think about that?
I didn't even think about that, honestly, but that's a really good point. It was definitely noticeable tonight. We had a lot more cohesion.
Glad I'm not crazy there.
No, you're not crazy. It was a lot easier for Derek and DeJounte to kind of attack. I think we significantly saw that from Keldon, who struggled the past couple games without Doug McDermott there to space the floor. He was able to kind of get to the rack at a much higher clip. He definitely opens up everything else in our offense, even when he's not shooting. So hopefully we can kind of get him involved again offensively and capitalize on his involvement even more. My unsung hero, Jude, it's also probably not going to be very popular with some of the people in the comments section because, he didn't play a perfect game and he's been struggling all season. But he was handed an impossible task to fill the shoes of Jakob Poeltl in the starting lineup. But Drew Eubanks did his best with what he was given, in my opinion. He played hard-nosed defense. I know people don't like that he can't really shoot that well. And offensively, he's a little bit limited because he really only has one thing, and that's dunking the basketball. But he had 3 blocks. He played physical defense. He did his absolute best. He set good screens. I mean, I really can't ask anything else from Drew Eubanks. I thought this was
in
one
the
of his
situation
better games.
He was put in tonight, guys.
Yes, in the situation, we couldn't have asked anything else from him, in my opinion. Maybe hit a couple more shots, but I mean, what are you going to do? 40% still not exactly bad for a guy that's not known as a scorer. He had 5 rebounds as well. Like I said, those 3 blocks, including one nasty block on I think it was Tim Hardaway Jr. trying to go in for that poster. Just a spark plug, and I'm glad he was there. Without him, we would have been in a lot more trouble.
And I love the way that last sentence that you had, because I think regardless of how anybody feels about Drew Eubanks, like objectively, man, like y'all can disagree and say it's not objectively, but I don't think that this is the same game. I mean, look, if you're replacing him with Jock Landale, that's a different story. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, Pop's not going to play him. We learned that tonight. So without Drew Eubanks holding down the paint, to some extent, I know it only says 3 blocks here on ESPN. I really think they missed that. I think they missed one. I'm pretty sure there were 4, and they mentioned it on the broadcast.
Yeah,
It might have
was
just
close.
been like half. Yeah. Regardless, it was a contest that forced a miss. Right, and it was like he got a little bit on the ball. I think that may have been kind of that second little block half contest after he threw the ball straight to Dorian Finney-Smith, who gave it to Tim Hardaway Jr., but he made up for it. That was the important thing. So he still is making some mistakes, obviously still struggling in some areas, but you know, when it comes to missing that paint defense that Jakob has really held down, you can't ask for, 3.5, 4 blocks. You really just, I mean, he was that's for Drew Eubanks. That's a pretty good performance. So I'm cool with him being the unsung hero as well. Only 19 minutes, but without his physicality down there, it would have been a problem. But at the same time, there were still a little bit problems with rolls. There were times that he was going to help Luka, which led to wide open lobs.
Yep.
There are things that Drew can get better at. But tonight was probably his best game that we've seen. I don't know if it was the best game that we've seen throughout the year.
First game was probably better.
Better, yeah. The Magic game,
I think
for
so.
sure, for sure. But hey man, so he can be blind, but I mean he made a bunch of other hooks. He missed some, yes. But also, like, once again, if we don't have another big getting blocked shots, there's not really. I mean, if you watch the tape, this is probably one of Drew's better games overall throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Definitely second best, if not first. So, I mean, in this situation, kind of what he had to do there.
You have to manage expectations versus what you want from a center. And expectations, he had 10 points, 5 boards, 3, maybe 4 blocks. That's expectations.
We're learning how we're learning more about Eubanks also with the way that he's playing this year. So in his situation, the player that he is, which is really, as we established last episode, a third string center probably. He made some huge plays in the paint. So once again, an impossible task. I'm not mad at it. We're so down bad for Jock. Everybody is.
True.
We're really down bad for Zach Collins, man. And that's the other thing. I know we're talking about Drew Eubanks and we're talking about Thad Young right now, but the thing that we need is Jock Landale and Zach Collins. So, like, yes, we're talking about these guys, but we'd prefer other people to play also.
Yes.
So, anyways. God,
With
this
that
is
being
just such
said,
a tough game, man.
It really was.
A tough game.
A tough game because everything we did wrong could have been corrected, in our opinion, at least. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and that is what we did that we can improve, right? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Something that we can do to improve going into next game. Jude, you can take this first.
Okay, so I have the same thing written down as the last episode, and it's just size.
Yep.
It's just size in the paint. It's just like at least Eubanks was boxing out Boban and tipping rebounds out to people. At least he could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Thad, and it once again not Thad's fault, but when Boban Marjanovic can turn around and just put his hand up as high as he wants and flick it and score with absolutely no contest, while Thad Young is giving max effort trying to defend the shot, and there's still no contest because he's 6'7" and Boban Marjanovic is 7'4". It's like, what is this? We have somebody on the bench who's 6'11", dude. Like I know once we already talked about this at the beginning of the show that he's a rookie and all that stuff, but
yeah,
it makes absolute. And then immediately after he makes those 2 shots, you sub in Eubanks, and it's like, okay, well, obviously you realize that there's a height discrepancy.
Yeah.
So why don't you put in somebody who's taller than Drew Eubanks?
You would think Well, Jude, I have the same thing. Honestly, I thought everything else that we've talked about in the past was kind of addressed in tonight's game. Cohesion offensively, it looked addressed. Being able to score with DeJounte off the court, it looked a little bit better in my opinion. Derek improved in that scenario as well as Devin and Lonnie kind of helping out. Lonnie with his assisting rather than scoring, obviously. But size is one of those things that you can't.
Oh, okay. Here's another number, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, go ahead.
56 to 40 was the rebound numbers tonight.
Yeah, that's bad.
56
That
to
is bad.
40.
That is really
And
bad.
you lose by 1 point.
Yep. It's just
We shot 5% better from them from the field. We shot 10% better than them from 3, and we shot 3% better from them on the free throw line. We literally outshot them the entire night. Yes, they made one more 3 than us technically, but like just atrocious. They had more turnovers than us. We had 10 more fast break points than us. The only thing, we had one more foul than them, which that's the only thing other than, and then our largest lead was 10 and their largest lead was 12.
And we had better shooting split efficiency as well.
We had 6 more. We had 6 more blocks, 4 more assists. We literally beat them. And I know that stats aren't everything. We talked about that on the show, but still, we beat them in every single statistical category except for rebounding, where we got completely obliterated. And it's because we're playing somebody who's 6'7". And yeah, and so I get. Well, hold on, wrong comment here. We'll get to that. But yeah. I understand where you're coming from, Diamante, and I know we gave Eubanks the unsung hero tonight because of the situation, but still, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, and maybe we all end up being wrong about Jock, but Eubanks in tonight's scenario should be a third. The third, he should still be coming off the bench, and Jock should have started. That's what I would have liked, and 2 undersized bigs who are, I would say that I'm going to give, and maybe this is one, or no, I'm not even going to say maybe. I think that Eubanks is not an above average rim runner, but I don't think he's a below average rim runner.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I also don't think that, what's his name?
That's decent too.
I think that's not a rim runner though. He's more of like a Draymond Green type guy that's going to facilitate and
but
set
non-shooting
good screens.
Factors.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He's not a scorer.
No. And that would be how you would beat them from the outside, right? Which Diamante makes a great point there. So, and that's the other thing. Why did Thad shoot a 3? Like what?
I saw
like
that.
What? I don't. I understand it's wide open, but come on, like why are we taking that shot? If Drew can't take that shot, Thad can't take that shot. Because when Drew took his second 3 of the year, and it looked really, really ugly. Pop was like, never do that again. So why is Thad he literally was like, I told you not to do that. I don't know if y'all saw that on that when that happened. So like, why is Thad getting the same, like, why isn't he getting the same treatment? Because he's a veteran? If the Spurs way is all about hypocrisy, Ethan, hypocrisy.
Yeah. I also do want to address the reason Keldon was shooting so much was because in transition, he's the one that just happened to end up with the ball in his hands, and he would just immediately take it to the hole. So that's why he shot more than Devin. But I agree with you. Devin needed to be shooting more just because he was so hot tonight. Sorry, I was just addressing what you.
No, you're good. And in a 1-point game, going back to Thad, like that possession could have been the difference, man. Like, oh, every possession could have, but I'm sorry if I'm a little off tonight, if I'm a little scrambled and the way I'm wording things. You guys can probably feel and see my frustration here a little bit. So yeah, but any final thoughts on what we can get better? Have you even said yours, or have I just been ranting this whole time?
I have said mine. I just agree with you. It's size. It's just rotations and size. If we can fix, and those aren't things that the players are at fault for. So it's just something that we need to make an adjustment as an organization.
Yeah, I agree. So Laura, just to address this comment, in fairness, although we are all excited for Jock, I remember him causing a lot of turnovers for us in the preseason. Maybe that's why we don't play him. I think I see what you're saying, but after those minutes that we saw in the regular season in the Pacers game last week, where he didn't miss a single shot and scored 10 points in 5 minutes and swished a 3 in rhythm, gave us a little bit confidence there. So once again, only garbage time minutes, but I think that's why everybody's mindset has kind of changed a little bit.
I'm glad that Laura's in here, though. Stay in here, Laura. We need some
Yes.
even-keeled people in here. We're all of
Yes.
everybody else in here, including
I'm very
Jude and I.
emotional tonight. So
Me, Jude, and everybody else in the comment section, we swing back and forth. We don't ever really just kind of hit the middle. So I'm glad she's here to bring us down to earth.
All right. Well, let's go and try to find some positives tonight because, like we said, despite everything, the offense looked a lot better. There were some good things. What is your overall main thing, something that you could point out that we did well tonight, that we improved on?
I think I kind of half stated it a second ago, and that's, our offensive cohesion looked a lot better. Derek White just being able to score a little bit more efficiently. I think that helped open up the rest of his game that we knew he had, which is being a facilitator. So when DeJounte left the game, we were still able to find a basket. At the same time, I'm sure Doug McDermott's presence on the court also helped in that situation. I think Devin has taken it upon himself. I don't know if anyone's told him to do this. I don't know if he has had a conversation with anybody, but he's taken it upon himself to be that primary scorer coming off the bench and just look for his shot and get open buckets. And it's proving to be effective, in my opinion. And I think Lonnie is kind of, he's all up for it, man. He's got those 6 assists. He hit him with a dime to the left corner early in the game in transition, and Devin just drained a 3. It kind of sparked some momentum for us. I think everything that we've addressed in past episodes as far as offense goes has gotten better. I think defensively we still have some things we can work on. And like we said, rotations, not really a player's fault. But as far as offense goes, we've improved quite a bit, in my opinion.
Yes, definitely. I had that written down. The offensive cohesion just looked so much better. And I wrote also that kind of comes back. I think that just has to do with Doug McDermott being back in the lineup.
That too.
So just looking at some other things that we did well that I'm trying to think. What is it? Oh, the closeouts. We were talking about closeouts earlier.
Right.
So that was really good to see, a lot better contest. There were still some times, there was like one shot where Eubanks just put his hand up and didn't jump at all. And I'm like, dude, if you would have jumped right there, you would have actually contested the shot and it wouldn't be an easy make for somebody. Mm-hmm. I know we love Eubanks on this show, but y'all heard that? That's criticism. Yep. But anyways, besides the point. Man, this is a good question right here. How long do you think Jakob will be out? That all depends. It's COVID stuff, so question mark is the answer. We do not know, but I'm trying to think. Devin Vassell, you mentioned him. Obviously, he did well. I liked the way that DeJounte didn't start that well, but still found his rhythm, kept shooting as the game went on, hit that big kind of sidestep 3. I don't even know how to explain it. Almost had another triple-double tonight, and found his way to score 23. Oh, and what we did well tonight, Derek White.
Yeah.
This is like, I haven't even got to this point. This is the Derek White we're paying $70 million. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, can you think of anything that he did? I mean, obviously, I'm sure there are some mistakes if you really look at the tape. I remember there was one time where he got beat by Luka on a turnaround jumper near the post. But overall, just a much better job for Derek tonight. The way that he was bringing the ball up the floor looks way more comfortable playmaking. We hadn't seen that since the first game against Orlando. And we were kind of concerned there. It's like, is that just completely gone? It was not gone tonight. The way he played defense, you really saw the stat of him holding, still having the low, I don't know if he still does, but when he did, having the lowest field goal percentage or opponent field goal percentage, you really saw that once again tonight. And his offensive efficiency, while his shooting, I believe only, just 1 for 2 from the 3-point line, isn't what we would like it to be. His drives, that was the first time that I had really seen Derek kind of go into the post or not go into the post, just go into the paint, put his body into somebody, drive, get some space, and get a layup. And this is a great point, Diamante. Thank you. You just took this is what I was trying to find in my words, but I couldn't say it. And that's what it was. He was aggressive. He was driving to the paint. And speaking of aggressiveness, another thing we did well tonight, we were beating up Luka Doncic on the defensive end. Like that shoulder that Keldon gave him at the beginning of the game that he got fouled on was a tone setter for the entire game. That we don't care if you're going to be the next LeBron. We don't care if you're going to be the next, most famous player. We're going to put our shoulder into you and we're going to go get a layup. And Derek did that a couple times too, driving in against him. So I loved that kind of physical tone setting mentality on the other team's opposing best player. When Keldon popped him the jaw. He popped him. I was like I would have even have been really that mad if they would have called offensive foul there. I mean, I was happy we didn't. I was happy we got the home court, but I was just like, that was great to see. So trying to look at some positives, man. Trying to look at some positives.
You're doing good. You're doing good, Jude. I like it. I do want to address Tanner Robertson asked if Jakob was vaccinated. The whole team is vaccinated, 100%. Staff, everybody is on board there. And Antonio B. Derek got scorched by Brunson, had 35 and 10 on him. But that was not all on Derek. That was on everybody that tried to guard Jalen Brunson tonight, unfortunately.
At that point. Yes. That was at the end. He just got hot. It didn't matter how good defense he played. He was just going to hit his shots. And if you guys have watched the other Mavs games for the past couple years, Jalen Brunson just tends to be like Kyrie Irving in the AT&T Center.
Yep.
So that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Okay, another thing, final positive thought from me. I know Keldon only shot 7 for 18 tonight. But I loved how he kept shooting, and I loved his Euro steps. I loved his Euro step. I know he missed maybe one or two. There's only one that's really popping in my head. It might have been two though. And he still, another element of his bag. I know he missed some mid ranges. I saw that in the comments. I get the frustration, especially with the game Devin was having. But at the same time, liked to see another thing from Keldon in another way that he can score other than just running straight to the basket. Even though he's still going to the basket, it's not just putting his shoulder down, fullback, running backing it. He was actually had, some more stuff in his bag. So good to see. Yes, he needs to finish better. But we saw some improvement as the game goes on. So
I think he just finally slowed it down a little bit and realized he doesn't have to go, beeline straight from one part of the basket. He can kind of create a little bit. He had some nice spin moves to get to the basket as well, in addition to those Euro steps. And I think helping Keldon was the transition game where we were actually playing defense and forcing some turnovers, allowed him to kind of get going by getting some easier baskets, running the full court.
He was playing the three more also.
Yes. It's a lot easier. I feel
like
score.
That, yes. That was Doug McDermott being back also.
100%. It opened up everything for him.
I see y'all are mentioning the bank shot. I don't know if Keldon can be Timmy. I don't know if he can be that, but I understand what y'all are saying, because instead of having to just go through all the contact, because they're not going to call every foul, unfortunately. If he were to, just, hey, I can create a little space here, just throw it off the glass, that would allow for some other finishes for sure. That's a great point. That's not something I had really thought of watching the game, but seeing those comments from y'all, that's something he can do. Okay, getting into the Q&A section of this, our man Drew, I have to answer that. I saw you ask this earlier, and we got to get to this now. So we didn't forget about you. We just had to get through our segments. Chris Duarte is playing awesome, but once again, Primo's potential, there's no ceiling. He's 18. I got a text in a group chat that I have, and it was some Spurs fan on Twitter, and it was Primo warming up and just doing some crazy, stupid... You can just tell the type of guy he is. You can just tell he's that guy. Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it. And they were like, all this just to have Bryn playing in front of him. And I was like, I think Primo might honestly already be a better defender than Bryn and a better shooter than him. I know we haven't seen any NBA real minutes. But Chris Duarte is playing phenomenal. But him being 24, and I think Primo is just going to be a better version of Duarte. Like, I think even though Duarte is awesome, he's like kind of coming into the league as what he is. And Primo, we're picking as, with the idea of what he could become. So I'd rather go with, youngest player in the draft versus one of the older. He may have been the oldest. He's a 24-year-old rookie. Obviously still, Chris Duarte is a phenomenal player, but I'm still rolling with Primo on the potential, and I think he's a sniper just like Duarte too. So I think Duarte's skill set, Primo already kind of has, and he has a lot more years to get better.
Yeah, Primo's going to show why he was picked one spot over Duarte in due time, and he also just fits our timeline better as a rebuilding team. I mean, I know Indiana's technically still not in like championship caliber team, but at the same time, they still have like Miles Turner and what's his name, Sabonis and Brogdon. Like they're trying to win now, even though they're not going to, but they want to. So it makes sense for them to go draft a guy that's 24 and able to contribute right off the bat. For us, we're trying to build something here, and Primo's absolutely going to be a big part of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Man, any other? Okay, it looks like we got a comment. How many years away do you think the Spurs? Probably from contending. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. To be honest with you, as much as I love these guys and I think they have the potential to be, all-star players, I'm not convinced that any of them are, championship players. You kind of got to see that in the postseason to like really learn, because you can build a team like this. Think about the Celtics. They've built so many teams that they've felt like are championship contenders, and then they get to the postseason and it just doesn't work out. And it's like you're trying, and they keep people, they keep Tatum, they keep Brown, but what are they doing? They're like revamping the roster every 3 or 4 years. And I know you want to stick with some guys, but I just need to see them like in a playoff setting before I can even begin to think about like where, like how much longer. I would say like 28, 29. Like that's where I'm going right now. I see some of y'all are looking very positive right now, but I gotta see, like I said, I gotta see these guys in the playoffs before I even begin to think about whether or not they're contender level. It's a contending roster.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd say minimum 5 or 6 years minimum. Yeah. Like at best, honestly. I know that's not what we want to hear, but it's just the reality. Unless for some unknown reason, we go get ourselves the first overall pick, and then some big name free agent decides he wants to come to San Antonio. Yeah, we go get Chet. Primo becomes an all-star, and then we sign like DeAndre Ayton and I don't know, some one other like really really good all-star level player, and then maybe. But I'm going like 6 years or so.
Yeah, and Tanner, that's what I had. I said 28, 29 when I said that. This is what I meant. And that's just me. I'm not. I don't know. I gotta see. Like I said, that's just me throwing it out there with like, okay, what DeJounte will be? I don't know. He'll be 30 then. He'll be in his prime. That's kind of when our guys will be in their prime. So
Jude's waiting for Derek to retire, and then we'll get a ring.
No. Brave of you to assume Primo is a prime Jordan. No, he's not prime Jordan. He's prime Primo. Come on now. Josh Primo is 1 of 1, man. He's 1 of 1. Oh my gosh, man. All right. Well, I don't see too many comments. I mean, I see, is the world still existing? That's a question. No, that is true. That is true, Yoga. Will the world be here in 2028? Who knows?
Yep.
Man, okay. I like this. This would be great. I mean, it would be great that, if Lonnie could be our Manu, it'd be great if, so many other people could be Timmy's. I don't know. We'll have to see with these young guys. But I definitely think Primo can be like a franchise.
When your big three all play the same position, Jude.
This is right. This is crazy. Like, I feel crazy saying this, but I feel like Primo can be like by far the best player on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll have to see with that.
We got
All
Kobe.
right.
We just waiting on Shaq.
For real. All right. Any final thoughts of this SSPN post game of tonight's Dallas Mavericks game? Devin becoming Kawhi, yes, except a better scorer.
Nope. I think we summed it up pretty well. I just hope that the coaching staff, I know we don't know as much as they do, but I hope that they listen to this podcast and decide to put some bigger guys in the game.
Yes, and there was one comment that I forgot about at, like midway through this broadcast, and they said Zach is going to be our Christmas present. I completely agree. I think that's a great way to end today's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. Please leave us a comment. Tell us we're stupid, even if, you know, it can be positive or negative is what I'm trying to say.
Some of y'all do.
Yes, and hey, that's okay. We appreciate it. We really do. I know that sounds crazy, but like we want any comments. So like the more the better. And follow us on Twitter at Ethan_Quintero, at Jude McLaren me. And we will see. Oh, didn't click that. I see we got some other chat. We appreciate you guys. And we'll see you guys next time.